Hello, everybody, and welcome to Commentator's Curse once again. Love it, talking cricket and what's going on around the world. Today, what we're talking about actually is Ganguly's at the helm now. Sourav Ganguly, great captain for India, steely captain, and now going to head the BCCI. That's going to be interesting. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about Kohli, who's leading his side really well. And that juggernaut, that Indian juggernaut continues. 11 consecutive and successive series win. They've obliterated South Africa. We'll also talk about the New Zealanders crying over spilled milk. I don't mean it. I don't mean that, actually, because they probably deserve to, get more than they got. This is not to say England shouldn't have won and all the rest, but yeah, we'll talk about that as well. Super over, how many ever is required until we get a winner. And more stuff on Commentator's Good. Ramiz here, Simon Dool there as well. Ramiz, how are you? Simon, how's it going?
Fantastic, Bobby. Nice to hear you. And we've got a full agenda. Let's roll it.
Yeah. Duly cold over there?
Oh, not too bad, actually. Probably just sitting in my office, got the window open, maybe about 12, 13 degrees, which is pretty balmy for New Zealand, as you know.
Yeah. Glass of wine? No?
No, sparkling water, Tom.
Okay. Right. Yeah, let's go with India first. Ramiz, how can South Africa stop India? I mean, the game is important. The next test match, they've been absolutely smashed in the two, but test championship means they're 40 points for grabs. So you can't just go into it and think, oh, we're done and it's gone. Neither can India. They must roll on, mustn't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's the approach that needs to be questioned. And also the skill level. Certainly South Africans, whenever they travel to Asia, seem to struggle big time. I mean, they got beaten by Sri Lanka and they've been obliterated by India. I think Faf has got to bat up the order. The bowler's got to bowl the Indian line and length, especially the pacers. Look for some reverse. The spinners have bowled short. They've been cut. They've been pulled. And as we all know, if you're a spinner and you bowl short on Indian tracks against the best batting lineup in the world, you've got to struggle. And so credit to India, I guess, because they've upped the game. And they've been relentless. It's great captaincy by Virat Kohli because he's aggressive. He picks aggressive 11 as well. He goes for the match winners, and his own example has been outstanding as well. So just a point away now from being the best batsman in the world. And Indians have been very smart and very, very good.
They're a brilliant side now, aren't they, Pommy? You look at they've got all bases covered to me, and that's the key for India. We always used to think about India and think, okay, fast bowling, probably the one area that could let them down, but they can now travel. They can travel to South Africa, travel to England, travel to New Zealand, travel to Australia and perform. They've now got guys that back up their batting prowess, which has always been brilliant, or most of the time has been brilliant. They can back that up with fast bowlers. They've got quality spinners, genuine spinners. There's four guys, and you look at Jadeja and Ashwin and Kuldeep, Chahal. There's guys they can pick, and there's plenty behind that as well. So they're a brilliant side. What worries me, and I'll come to you, Pommy, on this fact, is South Africa. The decline, the demise of South African cricket is really worrying for me. Domestically, is there any strength? Are there guys coming through? Where do they go to next? What is it with South African cricket, and why are we seeing this decline?
I tell you what, I reckon that as long as they're really good players in the national side, nobody really looks anywhere else. So if we shift backwards just a little bit, and you have Hashim Amla and Dale Steyn, and you have A.B. de Villiers as well. I won't go back to Graham Smith and Cullis and all the rest of them, just the little phase before. Then nobody's really looking and saying, oh, gee, what's happening with South Africa? And the hope is that there'll be a few youngsters who will turn up. And the likes of Markram turned up in the team, and guys thought, yeah, he'll be okay. Quinton de Kock in the team as well. You think, oh, he'll be fine. And with Faf du Plessis left there as the leader, you think, oh, yeah, they kind of will cobble away. And I've always said that the South African team is good, not because necessarily of their system, but in spite of their system. There's always someone that pops up. So often in South Africa, you go, oh, where are the fast bowlers coming from? And a Dale Steyn pops up. Oh, where are the fast bowlers coming from? And a Rabada pops up. Where, continually, here's Anrich Nokia can bowl at the speed of light. But when you go to the subcontinent, I think it's a totally different ballgame. You need experience in the subcontinent. If you don't have experience in the subcontinent, you just get found out. And I don't care whether you're going to India, whether you're going to Sri Lanka, whether in times past you're going to Pakistan. These days, even if you're going to Bangladesh, it's going to be pretty difficult if you're not on your game. And unfortunately for South Africa, they've got too many youngsters together, too many people who haven't been to the subcontinent or have been only once. And they meet up against a team that I think currently is the team to beat in world cricket, no matter where they play India. And so it exposes the cracks or the chasm that's there. And it then asks questions of the domestic system and everything else. If they were playing a lesser team, they kind of might have been okay. But I think this forces them to look at themselves, look at each player, and see what they need to do. Kolpak doesn't help, but nothing you can do about that. Can't fight against money.
There is experience, though, Pommy. I mean, you Elgar, Du Plessis, De Kock, Bavuma. Those four guys in your top seven all played a lot of Test match cricket, yet they are struggling. Do you think is it getting to Faf Du Plessis? The losses, the World Cup, the captaincy, is it getting to him a little bit as well? I see a little bit of strain in his, I don't know whether it's in his eyes and his hairline. There's a little bit of strain there.
Yeah, look, when guys are not doing well, as we all know, when you're not doing well, it's like you're in a cage, isn't it? It's difficult, and it's like the cage is closing in more and more. And that just might be the situation. He's a decent player, Faf du Plessis. He's looked decent, but there's no respite. There have been better teams have turned up in India and been absolutely trounced. So in this scenario, I look at it and I say, it's inept as a performance in the Test series. Yes, you don't like it. No, you don't want it. But it forces the side to look at each player and say, well, what is good enough? I heard Themba Bavuma say, look, I'm giving it a go, but my best at the moment, or what I'm putting out, is not good enough. And that's fair enough. He's under the scanner because he's got 100, and I think he's got 15 or 16 50s. And the currency for Test match batsmen is hundreds. Markram, struggling. When it's spin, it's a struggle for him. Faf du Plessis has to, and I agree with you, Ramiz, he has to bat for. No matter who says what, he has to take the mantle. He's the leader.
Just an example from the past, 1988, we were to travel to West Indies and we weren't exposed to television at all. So we didn't know what to expect in those days. And it was Patterson and Marshall and all these guys. And we practiced hard. We practiced on cement with a wet tennis ball, and it was about an hour and a half of just short pitch balls that we were expected to take. I think from that point of view, I think it appears as if South Africans weren't just prepared to play spin, to play reverse swing. Because, you see, I remember my first trip to India in 1986, and we were bombarded by spin on spinning tracks. And we found a way because, you see, so it was like playing more with your wrists, playing the sweep shot, using your feet with a good solid defense, half a step and then full forward defensive step forward. That kind of stuff. We didn't see that from South Africa at all because if you get beaten by Sri Lanka, you come back to same conditions, travel to India, you can't be as bad again. So there's not been any improvement at all.
We talked about Du Plessis as well, but I mean, when you look at the other, flip the coin around, and Virat Kohli and the way he leads that side, I guess the excellence that he demands from that Indian side as well. I mean, they're in a wonderful place at the moment, aren't they? And yes, there's so many things that have contributed to that, whether it be the IPL, whether it be the fact that their young players are exposed to such high pressure in that 2020 competition now, that international cricket doesn't bother any of these Indian players anymore. And I think that's played a massive part in where they are right now.
Here's Agarwal. He's got 2 centuries in 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, the 11 superstars they're fielding. I mean, look at Ashwin, what he's achieved as an individual. Terrific record. Jadeja as an all-rounder. Fastest to 200 or 250 wickets for a left-arm spinner from India. Then look at the batting CV. It's just a tremendous lineup.
Yeah, I guess I mean, I was looking at Kagiso Rabada said something in the press about they can't be put under more pressure or any more pressure. And I guess that's a statement, and I don't know how you guys interpret it, but my interpretation is this is probably the most pressure any of them, certainly him, because he makes the statement, that they've felt in the cricket side. Number one, to perform, but number two, just in terms of skills, just in terms of in the game, where Indian batsmen are coming at them, and you don't have anything as the bowler to sort of say, well, I got pace, but it doesn't seem to work here. And no matter what I'm throwing at these guys, it seems they're just churning out run after run after run. And to cap it all off, here's your opposition as a bowler, and they're reversing the ball left, right, and center, and yours going gun barrel straight. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, Dooley will be able to explain it better.
I just look. It's a skill. It's an art, and I love the art form. And India know how to do it. In India, you know, I mean, we've seen certain teams try and do it in other ways.
What? Scratch it? No sandpaper?
What is he talking about?
I could like hear
I'm
your
not sure.
thoughts,
Not sure what's going on, Ramiz.
You're going full bottle top as well, going towards Ramiz.
Well, we tried that. We tried that. Chris Pringle tried the full bottle top, and he came out openly. Oh, really? In that test match in Faisalabad, wasn't it? I think Ramiz in the early 90s, where he just came out in his book and he said, "Yeah, I grabbed the bottle top. They were doing it. Why wouldn't we do it?" Which is just an outrageous thing to do.
The most important phase for us was the drinks break, where you get Coca-Cola and you drink. And you put something in your pocket afterwards.
Right, here come everybody, give me your confessions. Now, on to the captain of the whole ship, Sourav Ganguly. Come on, Ramiz, you must be happy with hearing, and it's fantastic, isn't it, that there's so many cricket people being involved in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I experienced it, and must say it's a difficult job because cricketers are brought up in a very fair way, and so their mind works in that way when they're running a corporation like a cricket board. And so every now and then they meet up with political-minded people, and that's going to be the biggest challenge for Sourav Ganguly: how to meet these guys at their game, by maintaining grace, by maintaining fairness. It's going to be tough because, you know, for a cricketer to be in that environment, it can take a bit of toll. But he's smart enough really to make sure that he treads the right path. But great thing about him being at the helm of affairs is that cricket will be at the forefront. And so he'll take cricketing decisions. He'll take strong decisions. So it's great news for world cricket because BCCI is a terrific organization. You know, it has money, financials, it has great potential, talent. You know, it has IPL, and really to manage all of this by or through cricketer is something extremely hopeful and a great thing that has happened.
What's the toughest thing you found when you were CEO of the PCB and involved in those structures from a decision-making perspective and trying to actually move the game forward? What was the toughest thing?
Yeah, I think it was black and white stuff because I wanted things to be done honestly and fairly. And at times, you know, it was difficult because at a sub-level, at a low level, you know, when you're dealing with club cricket or first-class cricket, you find people who were ingrained in their method of working, which was difficult, really, to convince them that, look, cricket has got to be at the forefront. Cricket has got to be the most important factor when you're deciding or taking decisions. And so it took a bit of time, really, getting them around. But then, again, you know, because you weren't impressed by the big names, at times, you know, in our part of the world, the chairman of the board are so impressed with the superstars of the game that they relent and then they give in to their demands, you know, because they've been their fans and suddenly they're dealing with the best player in the team. And so it can have an effect on you. But being a cricketer, obviously, I missed that part quite conveniently. So for me, It was about dealing with the subject and not looking at the stature of that particular individual. From that point of view, I think Sourav Ganguly will be in a very, very good shape.
Julie, how does he work in New Zealand? I'm sure you're going to give your thoughts on Sourav at the helm. But in New Zealand as well, I find there are many former cricketers that get onto the board, that get into the running of cricket as well.
Yeah, not enough, I don't think, over the time, probably, but there are more and more, have been introduced in the last few years, which I think is a good thing. So on Sourav, I think, first and foremost, you've got to have respect in any of those top positions, and he has that in spades. Rami's talked about the political side of things. Well, he's got that. That's the family history, isn't it? That's the family background. They're politicians. I mean, that's where that will be very helpful for him. And just the fact that he's been a former Indian cricketer and a great Indian cricketer, I think holds him in really good
captain.
stead. Yeah, and captain, but also that cricket knowledge and cricket first is going to be very, very vital for him. He'll have battles. I mean, every CEO, every head of any organisation, but he's now part of head of the most powerful organisation. I mean, the BCCI are more powerful than the ICC, and that's not everybody knows that, and it's okay. And that's where I think 75% of roughly of all the money that comes into cricket around the world comes out of India. Via sponsorship, via viewership, numbers, all that stuff. So he's in charge of a very, very powerful beast that has been brilliant for a long, long time. So I think cricket players, whether they be male, female, moving into administrative positions within the game, can only benefit the game. Now, you can't just be a cricket head. They've got to have some business now, so some common sense alongside with that, which Sourav has. And so, if cricket boards can look to those sorts of people with some business acumen, with great knowledge of the game, and certainly with the sort of the real, I guess, the mana, we would call it in New Zealand, the status that a Sourav Ganguly has, it can only help.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely no doubt. Yeah, well, we wish him well. As you say, it's an important organisation, important in the whole game of cricket because of its standing in the game and the generation of funds and numbers and all the rest. So and the best side in the world.
We've all sat alongside him in a commentary box, so we do know that he will not be short of a word.
He will not be shy to admonish anyone in the way.
Just last thing on Ganguly, I just hope that he takes a worldview of the game. Because he's played the game at that level, that he can't be just BCCI centric. I can understand him to be loyal, but I also would want him to have the world perspective and see how this game is developing, how it should develop.
Shifting again, gents, and Julie, you can get a tissue or whatever you want, because it's probably come a little bit late. But super over until we get a result. Should have been that, shouldn't it, at Lord's?
I still don't like it. I still don't like it. The super over was bought around for 2020 cricket. That was the only purpose for a super over.
What are you on about? What do you want to do then?
It was there for a 2020 game. And that's the only reason that they fell into that situation in the World Cup without ever thinking about a tie, without ever thinking about a draw in a World Cup final. So, what can we do? Oh, we'll have a super over. Well, what a rubbish decision. I don't know.
Come on, dude. So what do you want to do?
He wants the boundary count
I'd like to have 5 overs.
Again.
Yeah, you want a boundary count.
5 overs. No, get out of it. I'd like to have each bowler bowl an over each. I'd like to go 5 over game rather you can't decide a 50 over game on a 1 over super over. I don't mind a 20 over game being decided on a 1 over super over because your time restrictions, you're limited. But in that situation, what about a 5 over game where each of your top 5 bowlers bowls 1 over a piece, something along those lines, rather than just 1 over. So you're putting 5 guys under pressure.
I understand. Okay. You see, what Dooley is trying to impress here is obviously, it's not a T20 game. It's a 50 over game. So you've got to give respect to a battle fought over 100 over. But I'd be quite happy not having a super over at all. I mean, I'd be absolutely exhausted watching 100 overs of cricket and then not getting a result. What's wrong with these people?
Yeah, what about a shared? What about a shared trophy?
Oh, don't come with the shared anything. Okay, I'm not so good at sharing it. But if you're in a contest, there must be a winner. There has to be a winner.
I've seen you with a bowl of fries. You're not good at sharing at all.
Share a bottle of wine. I'm all right with that. I'm quite happy with that. Oh, but I just think, you know, in talking about 5 overs, and it's too long, Dooley. We're in an age now, I believe, anyway, and no, but not everyone has to subscribe to this. You see, we're in an age now where we have, yes, test matches, yes, 2020 cricket, yes, one-day internationals, but the age is of instant gratification. Solutions very quickly, results very quickly. Now, because 2020 cricket is part of cricket, and some may argue that your one-day international cricketers might not be 2020 players. You can half argue that, but the skills are pretty similar. So to condense the 100-over game into a 2-over game, I think it's fine. I think it's putting, yes, your best player, and some teams, you get some teams where if you ask them to choose 2, they'll be under more pressure because one's so much better than the second one, right? If you ask them to choose 4 batsmen instead of 3, suddenly it's a problem because they don't have 4 hitters, particularly in the 50-over game. So it becomes a bit of an issue. I think your thinking's sound, but in this world of instant gratification, me personally, I'm going for that super over and over until we get a result. At least it's better than counting back boundaries.
Well, the bottom line, that's the biggest problem. It's the counting back boundaries. The game of cricket has always been about scoring runs and taking wickets. Mm-hmm. Now, it's never been about hitting the most sixes. It's never been about hitting the most 4s, scoring runs, taking wickets. Why in the first place wasn't it who lost the least wickets?
Mm-hmm. Because in limited overs cricket, it's about who gets the most runs. That's the game
but
was
the runs
created
are tied
that way.
The runs are tied.
Yeah, but if you don't get the most runs, then let's play again so that we see who gets the most runs. It's not about wickets. It's about runs. So in test matches, it's about you can draw, you can lose 9 and not all your wickets, and you still are in the game and you haven't lost the game or you haven't won the game because you haven't taken. However, in limited overs, I think I certainly view it this way. You look at it, how many runs have you got? Have you got more? If you haven't, let's see who can get more. And that's it. It's batsmen and getting runs. So to me, it's as simple as that. Where I disagree with the boundary counts, in 50-over cricket, you could run 4 at some point. So if you run 4, it doesn't go down as a boundary. And the other guy hits a 4. Do you win then if you have the same number of runs? You don't. And that's why I disagree with the whole boundary count. It's a nonsense. You could get the same number. The fact that you got a tie, counting back is actually nonsensical because, well, you got the same number of runs. It doesn't matter how you get them. You know,
exactly.
It really doesn't matter. So yeah, as an option, my issue with the super over is that it's reactive. But at least we're there and not back where we were.
Can the same bowler keep bowling?
I think he can, yeah. I have no reason to say, no, he shouldn't. If he's your best bowler, if he has to bowl 5 times, I think it should be allowed.
No,
I don't
like it.
You don't like it?
No, I don't like it. I mean,
there'll be rules within rules, I guess. Yeah. There'll be rules within rules. And that determination will be made. I must admit, I don't know if he can at present. So if you have 3 super overs, if the same bowler and the same batsman can bat. In soccer, if you get to sudden death in penalties, those who've taken their penalties, they're gone. They're out the game.
Gone. Correct. That's what I love about that.
And you start again. So perhaps that's the way it will go. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know. I don't know. What about Rambo? The ball that hits the bat. Remember Stokes running? I can't remember who threw it. And it hits the bat, goes for 4. What about making that a dead ball? Surely they discussed that.
Absolutely. I think that needs to be changed completely because you are negating a good return or good fielding effort. And certainly the bat comes in the way of the stumps. And then to make it worse, you're given runs that you shouldn't have got. So,
undeserved.
I mean, absolutely. I think it should be a dead ball straight away. Period.
When you go to a world tournament, to have a tournament decided by an afterthought is a pretty sad way to be. Whether it was New Zealand, whether it was Australia, whether it was South Africa or Pakistan, it was an afterthought. And that was a sad ending to what was a great day, an unbelievable day.
Yeah, true. It was awesome. I look, it's just flooding into my head now. And I think it's you, Dooley, who continually brings this one up. And the reason I'm bringing them up is because I would like for the ICC or the MCC committee or whoever to be proactive. And sometimes you need something to happen in order to then think of all the things. But it's peculiar to me that only the one thing has been. And I must put my hand up and say I haven't read through the whole thing about, but why wouldn't they go with, overthrows off the bat, it's dead, but also DRS. Now, final ball, and you probably are best to because you've said it to me so many times.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's
Give us
Dooley's
that
favorite
scenario.
one.
It's his
It
topic.
is. Yeah, this is my favourite situation. Okay, so who was going to play? Zimbabwe are playing South Africa in a World Cup final, and they need 1 run to win. And South Africa are bowling, Zimbabwe are batting. And let's say Rabada bowls a full ball to give me any Zimbabwean batsman. Taylor. Little inside edge on it. Hits his pad. He knows he's hit it, and the ball runs down to third man. But the umpire's given him out. Umpire's given him out. Brendan Taylor knows he's hit it. So he keeps running because they only need 1 to win the World Cup. And he goes like that, but it's too late. As soon as the umpire raises his finger, even though it's not out and will be proved not out on DRS, it's a dead ball and it's game over. And South Africa win the World Cup on an umpire's mistake. Now,
on countback,
everybody says, everybody tells me that it doesn't happen. It'll never happen. Well, nobody thought this would happen in the World Cup this year.
Exactly.
So fix it. And we still haven't quite come up with it, but maybe the umpire does not make any decision at all on the last ball of a game until the game is dead, until the ball is dead.
Right.
Maybe he just makes no decision at all until the ball is dead. I don't know.
So that happens?
Someone will have a solution for this. I don't know, because if the batsman knows he's hit it and he takes off for the run that he needs, well, let's say it's 2 runs, because otherwise it will be a tie and we go to a super over. He takes off.
It's 1 run to win. It's one run to win. Yeah. Oh well.
It's a tough one. It's another situation where they haven't catered for it, and I'm not sure of the exact answer, but someone will tell us. Someone will have an idea.
Yeah, but we've got to be proactive with it, and that's where I'm coming from. I'm saying, don't go fixing, one of the potholes in the road. I know you don't experience that sort of thing in New Zealand, but we do this side. Okay? One of the potholes in the road when they're 5 further down,
Correct.
Yeah, so only when you reach that one, hold on, let's go to the road department. Come and fix. Let's just look at it all, many scenarios, play them out, and fix those. If there's
plan for the worst case scenario.
Correct. There you go, folks. I think that's it for now. Thanks, Rambo. Thanks, Dooley. And hopefully you'll invite us for like a glass of wine or something over there in New Zealand at some point.
When I get my cellar finished, mate. When I get my cellar finished, you can come over.
Okay, folks. Hey,
thanks, boys.
Everybody
Cheers.
out there, hope you enjoyed it. We'll catch you next time. Cheers.